The polar bear. Let's listen.
Unit 3, pages 28 and 29. Reading. Endangered animals in the north. The polar bear.
The future for polar bears is uncertain. The climate is changing. Every spring, the Arctic ice melts earlier, and every summer there is less ice. The habitat of the polar bears may disappear. Nobody knows if they will survive.
Okay, so here in the introduction paragraph, he's telling us about the polar bear. So here we will start with the polar bear in the first page. The future for polar bears is uncertain. Uncertain, it means that is not guaranteed. We do not know what will happen to them. The climate is changing. What I mean by the climate? It is the weather. It is the weather that comes by the different seasons, the weather conditions of an area during different seasons. The climate is changing every spring. How is it changing? If I ask you, for example, the climate is changing and this affects the future of the polar bears. Explain, for example. Every spring, the Arctic ice melts earlier, and every summer there is less ice. And here you can see the polar bear. Where do they live? They live on the sea ice. So the habitat of the polar bears, their natural home, may disappear. Maybe it will not exist anymore. So where do they live? Nobody knows if they will survive. So nobody knows if they will continue living or not, if their natural habitat or if their natural home disappear. How does the climate change affect the future of the polar bears? The Arctic is their habitat, and the ice melts and becomes less every year, so their habitat may disappear. Repeat with me the word habitat. Let's move to the second paragraph.
Habitat.
Polar bears live all around the Arctic in northern Canada, Alaska, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. In winter, ice covers the Arctic Ocean. The seawater around the land freezes too. Polar bears hunt for food on the sea ice. In summer, when the sea ice melts, they live on the land, but there is little food for them. They wait for the autumn when the sea freezes and they can go hunting again.
Okay, so let's stop here. About the habitat, about their home, where do they live? So here you can see the maps and and they are pointing here to some lands or to some countries. Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and Norway. Polar bears live where? Where do they live? They live all around the Arctic. Where? In northern Canada, the first one, Alaska, Greenland, Norway, and Russia. In winter, the ice covers the Arctic Ocean. So in winter, the weather or the climate is very cold, so the ice covers the Arctic Ocean. The seawater around the land freezes, and the water which is around also the land freezes. So the polar bears hunt for food on the sea ice. So where do they hunt for their food? On the sea ice here. Remember this. In summer, when summer comes and this sea ice starts to melt, they live on the land, but there is little food for them. They live on the land, but how can they hunt? We said that they hunt on the sea ice. How can they hunt? They cannot hunt anymore. So there is very little food for them. They wait for the autumn. So the polar bears have to wait for autumn, for fall, when the sea freezes again and they can go hunting. The underlined pronoun they here refers to whom, and they can go hunting again. Who goes hunting? Polar bears. Why do polar bears stop hunting in the summer? Because they hunt on the sea ice, and in summer, the sea ice melts and they live on the land with very little food. Write down the names of 2 seasons. Here he mentioned for us 3. Just 2. Autumn, winter, and you can say also you can add summer. Let's continue.
Appearance.
Polar bears are the largest kind of bear. The male is about 2.5 meters tall and weighs around 500 kilograms. The female is smaller, about 2 meters tall, and weighs about 250 kilograms. Their thick white fur insulates them from the cold. Their feet are large and furry. They can walk across the snow easily. They can swim well too, because their feet are partly webbed.
Yeah, what about their appearance? Appearance, it means the way they look, their outer look, okay? So polar bears are the largest kind of bear. So it is the largest kind of bear. If we compare them to other kinds of bears, they are the largest ones. So here, largest is a superlative adjective. The male is about. So here he's starting to make a comparison between the male and the female polar bear. The male weighs about 2.5 meters tall and weighs around 500 kilograms. What about the female? The female is smaller than the male. It is about 2 meters tall and weighs about 250 kilograms. Okay, what makes them warm? How can they bear the climate, the very cold climate, the harsh weather in the Arctic? God creates them with thick white fur. This thick white fur insulates them. It makes them unable to feel the outer coldness. So their fur insulates them from the cold. Their feet are large and furry. Why are they large and furry? So they can walk across the snow easily in order not to fall into the snow inside it. They can swim well also. What makes them good swimmers? How can they swim? Because their feet are partly webbed. Their feet are partly webbed. Well, it means that they have like skin connections between their toes, okay? And they are partly webbed, partly. They are not completely, they are not fully webbed. Fill the table below with the correct information. So now let's make or fill this table with the comparison which we made here between females and males according to their height and weight. Females, they are 2 meters tall. What about the males? 2.5 meters tall. The weight of the females, 250 kilograms, and the males, it is the double, 500 kilograms. What is the importance of their large and furry feet? They can help them to walk across the snow easily. And last question, what makes them or what makes polar bears good swimmers? Their partly webbed feet.